everyone. Have you ever thought about what your brain is actually doing while you're asleep?
Yeah.
We are diving into some really, really fascinating research
Okay.
from neuroscience news, and it's all about how our pupils can actually reveal what's going on in our brains while we're sleeping.
So it seems like the old idea that our brains just switch off during sleep is completely wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
This article is called Sleeping with Eyes Open: How Pupil Size Reveals Brain Activity.
Wow.
And it talks about how scientists are keeping people's eyes open during sleep
Oh, wow.
to study this.
That's pretty wild. It
Okay.
sounds a little creepy.
Yeah, it does sound a little creepy.
But it's totally safe, and it's already giving us some really cool insights.
So, okay, how does this even work?
Yeah.
Do people, know that their eyes are open?
Well, most people actually, they don't even notice in a dark room,
Really?
and they just fall asleep like normal.
That's so bizarre.
Researchers have figured out a way to hold the eyelids open
Okay.
using a special kind of plaster, so it's...
Oh, so it's not like they're, prying their eyes open or something?
No, it's very gentle.
Okay,
Very gentle.
that's good. That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So what are they actually seeing when they look at these open eyes?
Well, they're finding that our pupils are constantly changing size while we're asleep.
Okay.
And these changes are directly related to how active our brains are.
At any given moment.
Yeah.
So it's not just one long period of quiet.
Right.
Our brains are actually going through these ebbs and flows of activity all night.
Exactly. And you know that feeling when you wake up after a really good night's sleep
Right.
and you just feel so rested?
Yes.
That's because your pupil size during deep sleep
Uh-huh.
shows exactly how restorative that sleep was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So our pupils are like a secret window into how well we're sleeping.
That's a great way to put it. And think about those deep sleep brain waves that help us consolidate memories
Right.
and wake up feeling refreshed.
Right.
The researchers are finding a strong link between those waves and the way our pupils change size. So it's like they're dancing to the rhythm of our brain activity.
Yeah, that's such a cool visual.
Yeah.
But wait, if our brains are more active than we thought during sleep,
Yeah.
does that mean they're still taking in information from the outside world?
That's a great question.
Are we still processing things?
And that's what's so interesting. The study found that the way our brains respond to sounds actually changes
Okay.
depending on how dilated our pupils are at that moment.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, even though we're asleep,
Uh-huh.
our brains are still listening and reacting to what's happening around us.
Okay, so our brains are like these mini computers just running in the background even when we're snoozing.
Exactly.
But what's actually controlling these pupil changes?
Right.
It sounds like there's a lot more going on than we realize.
So scientists are really interested in a specific part of the brain
Okay.
called the locus coeruleus.
The what?
Locus coeruleus. It's a tiny region in the brainstem, but it plays a huge role in regulating our sleep-wake cycles
Okay.
and our overall alertness.
So is this tiny part of our brain calling the shots
Awesome.
when it comes to our pupil size during sleep?
That's what they're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Think of it as like a little control center
Okay.
that's constantly adjusting your pupil size all night long
Ah.
based on what's going on in your sleep.
So if we can understand how this control center works,
Yeah.
could we maybe manipulate it to help people sleep better?
That's the really exciting part.
Right, yeah.
This research could totally change how we diagnose and treat sleep disorders.
Okay.
Imagine being able to track someone's pupil size during sleep
Yeah.
to see exactly when and why their sleep is being disrupted.
That would be revolutionary.
Right.
Instead of relying on people to describe their sleep problems,
Right.
we could actually see what's happening in their brains
Exactly.
in real time.
Yeah.
And think about conditions like insomnia or PTSD, where sleep disturbances are a huge issue.
Big time.
This kind of technology could completely change how we approach treatment.
I agree.
It's all starting to sound pretty futuristic.
Yeah.
But it's actually happening now.
It is.
That's so cool.
It really is. And the implications go way beyond just sleep disorders.
Yeah, okay.
Think about Alzheimer's disease,
Yeah.
which is often linked to really serious sleep problems.
Right.
So if we can understand how pupil size relates to brain activity during sleep,
Uh-huh.
it could open up all kinds of possibilities for early diagnosis and treatment.
This is honestly blowing my mind.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And the fact that all this information is coming from something as simple as our pupils,
Right.
it makes you wonder what other secrets our bodies are holding.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
What are the next steps for this research?
There's still so much we don't know.
Right.
But one thing's for sure.
Okay.
This research is changing everything we thought we knew about sleep.
Yeah,
And it's opening up really exciting new ways to improve our health and well-being.
absolutely. It's pretty amazing to think that something as simple as our pupils could be the key to like unlocking all these mysteries about the brain.
I know, right? It
Yeah.
really shows you how much we still have to learn about ourselves.
Yeah.
But the potential for this research is so exciting. Imagine a world where tracking pupil size during sleep is just a normal part of healthcare.
Whoa, like going to the doctor and instead of just asking how you slept, they check your pupils.
Exactly. It could be a way more accurate and objective way to diagnose sleep disorders because, let's be honest, people aren't always the best at describing how well they sleep.
Oh, that's so true. I know I've totally underestimated how much sleep I'm actually getting.
Yeah, and think about the possibilities for early intervention. Let's say someone's pupil activity starts showing a pattern that's associated with a higher risk of a sleep disorder, or even something like Alzheimer's. That early warning could be huge.
It's like having a window into your brain health before you even have any symptoms.
Exactly. It could be a game changer for preventative care.
Right.
And once we understand more about how specific brain regions like the locus coeruleus are influencing these pupil changes, we might even be able to develop targeted therapies.
Like, could we actually train people to control their pupil size to get better sleep?
There's definitely potential there. It might sound kind of crazy, but we already use biofeedback for things like anxiety and migraines, so using it for sleep isn't out of the question.
That's pretty cool, but wouldn't that require you to like make a conscious effort while you're asleep? How would that even work?
That's a good question, and it's something researchers are still figuring out. It might involve using technology to give people real-time feedback about their pupil activity during sleep so they can gradually learn to influence those patterns.
So maybe in the future we'll all be wearing these high-tech sleep masks that track our pupils and help us sleep perfectly.
I can definitely see that happening. There are already sleep masks that track brain waves and other things, so integrating pupil monitoring seems like the next step.
Right, and then think about how this could be integrated with other technology, like our smartwatches or phones. Imagine getting an alert that your pupil activity is showing signs of sleep disruption.
Yeah, it'd be like a wake-up call, literally.
Literally.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities. This research is really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible when it comes to understanding and improving sleep.
Yeah, I'm really glad we did this deep dive. It's changed how I think about sleep.
Me too. It's a reminder that even the most basic bodily functions can have these incredible secrets, and sometimes the most groundbreaking discoveries come from asking the simplest questions.
Like, what can our pupils tell us about our brains while we're sleeping?
Exactly.
It's a question that's leading to some really revolutionary answers. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and think about the research itself. They had to use a pretty invasive method to keep the participants' eyes open, right?
Yeah, using that special plaster to hold the eyelids open was a clever solution, but it's not exactly something people would want to do every night.
Definitely not. So if we want this technology to become mainstream, we'll need less invasive ways to monitor pupil activity during sleep.
I agree, but with all the advances in wearable technology, I think we'll see some comfy and convenient solutions pretty soon.
It's amazing to think that one day tracking our pupils during sleep could be as common as wearing a fitness tracker.
It really shows you how fast technology is changing and how much potential there is to improve our health and well-being. But it's important to remember that technology is just a tool we need to use it wisely and ethically to help people.
That's a great point. We need to be mindful of the potential risks and ethical considerations as we develop and use these new technologies, but I think the potential benefits are too big to ignore.
I totally agree. Imagine a world where everyone has access to personalized sleep insights and interventions. It could have a huge impact on our health, productivity, and happiness.
It's a vision worth striving for, but for now, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive.
I agree. We've covered a lot today, but there's still so much more to explore in the world of sleep and neuroscience. And I'm sure there are plenty more surprises waiting to be discovered.
Okay, so we've talked about the research, the potential for like diagnosis and treatment, and even the future of sleep tech. What really stands out to you the most from all of this?
I think for me, it's realizing just how dynamic and complex sleep really is.
Yeah.
We're not just lying there. Our brains are actually processing information, consolidating memories, and regulating so many bodily functions.
I know, right? It's like this whole secret world is happening every night and we don't even know. And the
Yeah,
fact that our pupils are giving us a peek into that world is just mind-blowing.
it really is almost like they're trying to tell us something.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
hey, pay attention. We're not just for seeing.
Right.
We're a window into all the amazing things your brain is doing while you sleep.
I love that. So what do you think for our listeners, what's like the one big takeaway from all this? What's the one thing you would want people to remember about this research?
Don't underestimate the power of sleep.
Okay.
It's not just about feeling rested.
Right.
It's crucial for our physical and mental health. And the more we learn about sleep, the more we realize how important it is to make it a priority.
That's such a good point because we live in a world that like glorifies being busy and not sleeping enough.
Right?
But this research really shows us that we need to change that.
Yeah, sleep is not a luxury. It's essential.
Yeah.
And by paying attention to our sleep and doing things to improve it,
Mm-hmm.
we're really investing in our health and well-being.
I totally agree. Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of pupil size and brain activity during sleep.
Yeah, it's been great talking about this with you. Who
Yeah.
knows what other amazing discoveries are out there
Right.
in the world of sleep science?
So to everyone listening, the next time you close your eyes to sleep, remember that your pupils are dancing, your brain is buzzing, and there's a whole universe of activity happening under those eyelids. Pay attention to your dreams, your sleep patterns, and maybe even those moments when you catch a glimpse of your own pupils in the mirror.
And as always, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds wide open.
Good night, everyone.
Sleep well.